Today we're going to be doing a ladder test for some Zinc 38 special bullets, and that's coming up next year on Jesse B Outdoors Reloading. Welcome back everybody, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. First off, I'd like to thank Andy's79Z28 Zinc Master for sending these bullets out to the channel. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to do a ladder test. We're going to load these up in a ladder, and then later we're going to do a video shooting these over the chronograph. That'll be on my main channel. So let's go ahead and bring the camera over here, and I'll show you everything that we're going to use and get started. Alright, now to go over the components that we're going to use today, the powder we're going to use is Tight Group. This is what I use with my Zinc 9mm bullets, and it worked out great with that, so I figured we'd use it in 38 Special. Primers, we are going to use Subversio small pistol primers. Pick these up at Republic Ammunition. And then brass, we are using Winchester brass. This is range brass, but it's all Winchester. You can see one's got a primer in it already. I use that to set everything up. But that's everything we're going to use. And what I got on top of here, I've got my Lee powder drum. And that is going to drop 3.2 on that. And then what we're going to do is over here, I've got, we'll move the camera here. I got my scale. My trickler is still leaking, so I need to buy a new trickler. So we're just going to use a Lee scoop and scoop it out of there to do the trickle on it. So let's go ahead and get started. Now we're going to do this ladder test today a little bit different than what I've done before, because I'm going to use the priming system on the press here. Normally I hand prime, but my hands are getting bad and I've done so many videos lately, I just cannot get the primers in. So we're going to do it this way. So we can see here, this first one, I already set the press up with this one. But this one, I'll show you what we're going to do. Even though it's got the primer, I got the pin out of the sizing die. So we're going to stick that in here. And we're going to resize it. And then what I'm going to do, I forgot I ain't got the ratcheting system in. We're going to move it over here to belt and powder it. And when I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw 3.2 grains. And then I'm going to trickle up to all my rounds. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go through all 20 of them here and drop a powder charge. And then I'll show you guys real quick if my camera will pan over. What we're doing is I got my other tray here. So when I flip it over, I'm putting it like that when I got the powder in it. And these I know need prime and everything. And that's how I'm going to go about it on these. So we'll set it back up here just so you guys know. That way you guys can see this. So we got our first one done. And so now we will do number 2. So we're going to size it. Put the primer in. Come down. Seat the primer. Then we're going to flare and powder. And that's what I'm going to do on all 20 of these. Just so you guys know how I'm doing this. This is a little bit different than normal, but like I said, my hands are bugging me. So I'm trying to find out the easiest way to do this. And that was the best way I could come up with it, is to do it this way. As you guys know, when I do my ladder test anyways, I always take the rod out of this and run it like a single stage anyways. So we just modified our setup here a little bit. We'll get all 20 of these rocking and rolling. We are already doing our 5th one here. So this would be our lowest powder charge that we're doing on this. I am excited to try these out. I had fun doing the 9mm. Now, you saw the warning at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to do another disclaimer right here. Do not use my load data. Talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. And work up your own loads for your own guns. Playing around with zinc is totally different than messing with lead. And I was told by Andy how to do the 9mm, and I'm using the same concept here with the 38 Special, taking precautions. One reason why I am using tight group is because it's a smaller powder, not big, bulky, flaky stuff. And I like using that so far for zinc. I've had no issues with it in 9mm. I've done a 9mm lighter test with it in zinc using the philosophy that was given to me. And I've done a plinking video with 9mm zinc bullets where I just took my favorite load out of that lighter and did it and had absolutely no issues. And I'm using that same concept here to do these 38 specials. I think zinc is going to be the way of the future in case they ever say you can't do lead anymore. So that's why a lot of people are going to this. There's a lot of people in New York and California, places that are pretty much against, I'd say anti-2A, but they're also environmentalists. And they are all going to end up one day trying to get lead banned. So zinc looks like to be the next best alternative to lead. And that's why Andy and a bunch of other people started working on zinc. And that's kind of why I want to get into doing zinc. The biggest thing with zinc is, like with these bullets here, they came from a lead mold that is 170 grain. But when you weigh these out, I'm getting anywhere from about 101 to 103 grains. And that's where it's different on these. You got to load to the weight of the bullet, but you got to do the case overall length to the actual bullet. So you would use your case overall length for the 170 grain. But we're going to use a powder charge. I got mine out of the Lyman cast bullet manual. And I think it was for a 105 grain bullet. Don't hold me to that. I don't remember offhand. But like I said, just because that's in lead and this is zinc, you still need to do ladder tests like we're doing to make sure you don't wreck your gun, wreck you, your hand, anything like that. I have noticed with these Winchester 38 Specials, some of these have got a little bit of a crimp in them. So some of these primers are going in rough. I'm going to have to go through and get rid of those crimps on these if I remember after I clean it. Oop. Let me make sure. This is one thing I was talking about when I did my video on this VR to Harshman Hills. When you get down low, sometimes the primers don't like coming out of this. There we go. There's a primer. I was talking and wasn't paying attention, and I got to watch that just because I'm not used to doing it. So these last two, we are definitely going to make sure we got a primer in there before we put our powder in, or we just make a huge mess. Now we got one left here. Get this all done. And I'll show you the next step I do. Like right there, we didn't get a primer. Sometimes I gotta flick it. And then that last one will come out and it fell on the floor. So I'll be right back. Alright, I manually put that back in there. So we'll seat that and get our powder charge. And this is our last one here. So what we're going to do is move the camera and I'll show you my next step. Alright, now I'm not going to show you guys all of this because this takes a little bit longer. And it's hard for me to reach around the camera and do it. But you can see we've got our scale zeroed out there. We will zero it out with the pan. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to take our first load here. Dump it in there. And we should be at 3.2. Which we are. I'm going to keep this piece of brass out, and then what I'm going to do is get a scoop out of my trickler here, and my first charge is going to be 3.4. So now I'm just going to trickle it by hand, and that was way too much. That shot up to 4, so we're going to scoop some out of here. Now we're at 3.5, so we just need a little bit. Alright, we are at 3.4. Then I'm going to take my funnel here, put our powder charge in there. Then what I'm going to do is put this back in there, and we're going to set a bullet on top of it. That way I know this one's been charged and it's ready for the bullet to be seated. Now I'm going to cut away and do the rest of these off camera, because this is too much to do reaching around the camera. Now we got our powder charges and all these. Now let's go ahead and seat all the bullets. Now we're going to go through here and we are going to seat every bullet. And I am going to do this in separate steps here. I am not going to seat and crimp, just because when I do ladder test, I want to be consistent. So in order to be consistent, I think I have to go one at a time in one stage and do them like that. On these ones, because I'm doing it a little bit different than normal, I'm not sure how consistent they're going to be, but we're going to try to make it as consistent as we can, because we are trying to find a load for these bullets. So I want to be as consistent as I can be with these. And like I said before, tight group is the best I've found, because like I said, it's a real fine powder. Not really fine, but it's not a thick, bulky powder, flaky powder, and that's what I like about it. Because when you're using these bigger, longer bullets, more of the bullet is sitting down into the case. So then you got to worry about having too much of an air gap in them, or not enough. And I don't want to run into a space issue. So I try to stay away from big, bulky, flaky powders when I'm doing zinc. I think another powder that would be good for this that I have is Bullseye. I'm going to have to check and see how many bullets I got left for 9mm and for 38 Special after I do these. Because I might do a ladder test with Bullseye using Zinc Bullets too. Because that might be another good powder for us to use on these. If you guys know of any other powders out there that are kind of like a tight group or Bullseye, leave a comment down below, because that's the kind of stuff that I look for in doing Zinc Bullets. If I get comfortable enough, actually I'm getting low on HP 38. I like HP 38, but I'm getting kind of low on it. That would be another powder I'd like to try it with, just because that's one of the powders I try to keep on hand, because I do it in a lot of my semi-autos. But here's the last one for bullet crimping, or I meant seating. Now let's get ready for bullet crimping. Alright, I had to take a minute here. Actually, I haven't been feeling well, if you can't tell by my voice. But I just wanted to take a break to rest my voice. So now what we're going to do is we are going to crimp these. Alright, and there we go. Nice looking bullet there. So we'll get all these crimped up here. From what I've seen, this factory crimp die really crunches like that. It just seems like with Zinc Bullets on some of these, they're very hard. I notice it more though with Winchester brass than I do with anything else. That's the weird part about it. I noticed that also with the 9mm. They were the same way. And actually, if you guys didn't see my short of the 9mm zinc bullet, I actually got stuck in my Lee factory crimp die. I'll leave a card up above for you to check that out. That was interesting. I had to pound that sucker out of there. Never had that issue before. And what I think it was is, and I could be wrong, if Andy watches this video, maybe he can correct me in the bottom. He sized them, and I didn't check them, and I should have. And I think what happened is one either had spring back from sizing, or it was never sized. So before I did any of these rounds, I went through and I resized all the bullets to hopefully avoid that this time around. But we will find out here in about 5 more rounds of crimping if we're going to have that issue. I don't think we were, because I just think those bullets weren't sized right, and that was my fault for not double checking them. But you can see these things are pretty rough in the factory crimp die. I don't know if I crimped with my bullet seeder, if that would change anything or not. But then you got one like that was like nothing. But now let me go ahead and show you guys the next part. Now, I've shown this before in another video. The last step I do is I actually write on the case what they are. So this one is 3.4. I know you can't see it that good because of the shadows, but I am going to go through the rest of these and mark what they are, and I'll be done with that. So let's go back up on top when I get done, and we'll finish out this video. So once again, I'd like to thank Andy79Z28, the Zinc Master, for sending these bullets out to the channel. We got our ladder test done up here. Now what we need to do is go over to my other channel and check out the shooting part, where we're going to run these over the chronograph and see how good we did on these. I don't know how they're going to come out, because I did them a little bit of a different way, just because I moved my way of doing these around a little bit, and that actually has me worried a little bit, but I think they'll come out fine. The main thing is we're checking for pressure signs and stuff like that, since these are zinc bullets. So as always, don't forget to check the links out down below. Down there I have links to Axle Hearing Protection, Gators Eyewear, and a bunch of other companies I like dealing with. Some are affiliate accounts that do help out the channel. Others got discount codes to save you guys money. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below. We are One Nation Under God, and I'll see you all on the next one.